Welcome back to DS Trucks. In today's video, I want to talk about where to drill a hole in your truck to protect your Fords from electrical damage. As you can see, this F450 is equipped with a snow plow because we do use this truck for plowing snow. But if you know anything about plowing snow, if guys are getting in and out of your truck with wet boots, then chances are you're going to get water, snow, all that stuff tracked into your vehicle. Now, yes, you do want your guys to get the snow off of their boots, but there's only so much they can get. If you're going to do even like a residential snow route, for example, with a Ford truck, then yeah, you could end up with a lot of moisture and a lot of water inside of your truck. And if you look at the design of this truck and what they've achieved is a flat floor. This is a flat floor. So the issue with this design is no matter what you do, the lowest point for moisture is down underneath this panel. And if you pull this panel, I don't know if I can get it off real quick, but when you pull this panel off, what you will see, now I've actually put like a little dab of grease on all of my pins because like I said, this is a work truck, does snow, does salt, and these little clips will rust out and break when you pull this panel off. So I put a little grease on these so that they can come off easily. But when you look at this area here, you'll see your wiring harness. Now what happens with a lot of snowplow trucks and salt trucks is this gets covered and caked in salt. Now on my truck, I went ahead and I covered it with a UL listed extra wide electrical tape that wraps completely around this part of the harness, because believe it or not, there's a lot of failures with this harness in this area because of salt. Now you can look and see there's some salt residue here on the carpet, which I'll clean here in a couple of days. I think the snow season is pretty much over now. As you can see, it's like 60 degrees today, but you can see that this has all been wrapped. This is done after the fact. This is done by me, but even so, if this area were to fill up with water, maybe the truck develops a leak. Maybe a marker light on the top here starts leaking. Very common to happen. And when that does happen, basically your truck's gonna be full of water. So let's just say that happens, truck fills up with water and there's a little bit of salt present, boom, your wire harness gets fried. Potentially it gets fried. Not guaranteed, but very likely. So looking in here, we've covered this up. Now, if this were to get submerged in water, even though it's covered up, it wouldn't save the harness because this is not technically going to be marine grade or watertight. Just because it's got tape wrapped up, it is not watertight. It's moisture resistant, but it's not watertight. So even now, if it were submerged in water, it would be an issue, even though it's covered. Could even potentially be worse of an issue because now if salt and water were to get in there, it'd be stuck in there, wouldn't be able to get out. So something to consider. Now, with regards to drilling a hole, I want to show you guys how I drilled a hole on my other truck. Now, this is my 2019 F250. It has been used for plowing snow for a number of years now, and it had an issue with the cab mounted light where it leaked water inside of the truck and filled the truck with water. So let's take a look here at this one we've already taken it apart. As you can see, I've got the panel off. You can see this one's a little bit more rusty on these clips, but you can see the blue grease so that these all come apart easily if I ever need to come in here and take it apart for any reason. So in this truck, you can see I did not cover this harness. I probably will in the future when I get time, but this harness is just the way it was from the factory. But this truck did not have a problem with salt getting on the harness really too bad. Basically what we did different with this truck is there is a hole right here, and this is a drain hole. So if this truck ever has a leak, yeah, it will still get moisture in it. Let's say, for example, the windshield leaks, which is very common on all new vehicles, or a high mounted cab light. If one of these were to leak again, then moisture would work its way into the truck, but eventually would ultimately come out because right here in the front, is probably the lowest point in the truck. Like I was saying, what they've done is they've made this flat floor on the truck. And typically with like passenger cars, when moisture gets into a passenger car, normally you'd have a puddle of water right here on the floorboard. But because of the floor being flat and this valley being the lowest point on the truck, that's where your water ends up going. And water always works its way to the lowest point. So the hole's right here. Now, this is a very interesting spot because when you look at it, you're like, hey, you got a big hole in your floor. Now water can get in. Not really. This hole actually doesn't go all the way through. It doesn't go to the outside. So when you go up under the truck, and I'll go up under there and show you how it looks. Here under the truck, you don't see that same hole, but you do see a hole, but that is just a factory hole. That is not where it was been drilled. That's just a factory hole. Where that hole is aligned right about here. So when water comes in, or if water is introduced into the truck, you get a leak of water coming out through this spot here, and it doesn't really have a way to get back in because it's all folded and baffled in there. There's no way for water to get back into the truck from right here. So let's go ahead and do a little demonstration. I've got a bottle of water and I'm going to go ahead and pour it in so you guys can see how it looks. All right, so here is how the water looks. If water were to be introduced into the truck, this is what would happen. Boom, we're getting wet. And it's filling up. And there we go. Water's coming out of that spot where I pointed. No, it's actually coming out there. So one of the things to consider is, okay, if you're gonna drill this hole, the first thing that the first mistake I made is I made the hole too small and it clogged up really easily because this truck is used for work and it is full of dirt and leaves and grass and whatever. And all that stuff, if the hole is too small, will easily clog up that hole. So the first hole that I made was too small, and then I had to increase the size of the hole so that it will drain and not become clogged. And I could even make it a little bit bigger if I wanted to. I just haven't. This size that we have right here has worked for me so far. Another thing to consider is, this is for a work truck. If you have a regular truck and you're not seeing this kind of moisture getting in, maybe not worth it to do. This is for a truck that is going to be used in a manner that's going to introduce all of this moisture into the truck. Now, normally, that kind of moisture doesn't get introduced into the truck. My wife's F-150, probably not going to get this. She doesn't have cab lights. Truck doesn't leak water inside of it. But then again, I don't know if it really hurts her truck either to have this. This is going to be the same for 150s and Super Duties, aluminum body. Another thing to consider, if you have a steel body truck, the steel might rust. Now, if you look at this, this is aluminum. This hole has been exposed to salt, exposed to water, everything. It's not corroded, it's not flaked, it's not done anything. If it was a steel truck, that would be a rust point and your vehicle will start to rust from there. Let's take a look here at my yard. All this stuff that's been outside is aluminum. This aluminum bracket been outside all day, all year. All this aluminum's been outside all year. It's not rusting away. Those aluminum catchers, they've been outside. They're not rusting away. So aluminum outside is going to be okay. It's going to resist salt. It's going to be fine. But aluminum does corrode in calcium chloride. So if you're putting a ton of calcium chloride, be cognizant of that, because then some protective paint might be warranted. We're not really getting calcium chloride where I am. But protective paint isn't a terrible idea. I just don't see the need myself. But if you really want to be 100% legit, some protective paint can be warranted. But comment below and tell me what you guys think about this. Is this a good way to protect your truck so far? My opinion, the hands down the best way is to just put the hole in that spot. I've got it done on this truck on both sides. I'm about to do my F450. I wish I would have done it sooner, but no issues with the 450. Just need to make those holes so that harness is not soaked in water. But comment below, tell me what you think. My name is Sean. This is DS Trucks. See you guys in the next video. Over and out.